Very good. Now I can remember to turn it off. It'll be wonderful. Welcome to New Moon Shamanistic Sanctuary. If this is your first time or if you are returning. As you may notice, people tend to trickle in as we begin, and that's fine. I say you're not late unless we've already locked the door, right? So make yourselves comfortable. If you would like to borrow a drum or a rattle, there are plenty of them. My volume is still, like last week, I can't tell if I'm too loud or too quiet, so give me a thumbs up or a raise up. My voice is pretty strong most of the time, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's just begin with taking some breaths together, and then I will walk around with the singing bowl, and then we'll do some drumming and just raise our vibration. We'll do some drumming and singing and opening up this beautiful morning. Beautiful time of year. So just let your eyelids relax. And just bringing your awareness into the room, into the now. And exhale. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. And one more time, deep breath into your belly. Inhale. And exhale, settling in. And allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. And just keeping your eyes relaxed or closed. If you want to set any intention now, I always suggest setting an intention of just allowing. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Welcome. It's a little dark for me this morning. There it is. If you would like to stand, please stand. And we're going to face this wall with a beautiful sunrise tapestry. Grandmothers, guardians of the east where the sun rises, again and again and again, teaching us about the cycles and rhythms of a new day, a new season, new dreams, new birth, new ideas, welcoming the fresh air, the wind as it cleanses and carries your prayers to be heard in the ethers, bringing your dreams into creation. Welcome, grandmothers, guardians of the east. And turn to your right. Grandmothers, guardians of the south. The summer, a time of dancing, playing, approaching life with childlike wonderment, creating with passion, trusting your inner knowing. Welcome. And turn to your right. Grandmothers, guardians of the West, reminding us to slow down, to be grateful, to allow the waters to carry us along the path of life without too much struggle or resistance. Remembering when we feel like drowning, float, surrender. Welcome. And turn again to the left. Grandmothers, guardians of the North, the place we call death, the beautiful in-between where we gain our wisdom, our compassion, where we pause and go on a journey within, leaning into. Welcome. Above Father Sky, protecting, overseeing, and providing. And below Mother Earth, supporting every step, every dream, loving you unconditionally. And the Creator within, placing you in the center of the circle of life, connecting us all to the same Mother and Father. Welcome. You can take a deep breath and have a cookie. Go right ahead, honey. You get whatever you need. If anybody needs a drum, if you've just come in, there are drums up here at the table. Or a rattle. There are drums and there are rattles. Would you like anything? You good? All right. Yes, make yourselves comfortable. If you don't know, the restroom is to the right and immediate left of the door up there. Yes, get you over there. All right. So we're going to just drum for a little bit, doing a 4-count beat, real simple. I'll get us going in just a moment. And the song that we'll start singing is the first song in your songbook. It's called Wende Yaho, Cherokee Morning Song. And we'll start with that song and sing through that for a few times. I'm getting a little warm up here. Yeah. No. All right, we'll just start a 4-count beat. 1, 2, 3, 3. Feel that? It feels so good. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Spring is in the air. Great. This is the best church ever. Yeah, thank you. You know, I've had a lot of comments. I've had someone say it's too churchy for me. That's great. Someone else says that it is whatever. And it is what it is, y'all. I am just showing up for it, and I'm here for it, and I'm following the guidance, and I'm as surprised as you all are some days. But it's, you know, it feels what it's supposed to be, right? And I'm not here to be for everyone, but to hold space for those, what I hear most often is seeking. It's no secret. I think we're all coming, we're emerging. You know, we were kind of really sleepwalking, and then 2020 happened, and we're all isolated and going, separating, and it's kind of like we're coming out of that now. And I trust the timing, and I trust the process, even though I don't understand it all the time, right? And I trust nature, and nature tells me that everything is cyclical, and I know that everything has its time, and it's just leaning in with curiosity. Spring is the 19th, I believe. Mm-hmm. So.
Equinox is 21st.
I'm sorry?
Equinox is the 21st.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And it's that time of year for me, I know a lot of times winter is like, we can't wait to get out of it. I love winter. I was not really ready to come out of wintering this year. I'm still wanting to. And I get another chance because Kentucky is that way. I'll get some extended winter. But as we move into spring, I encourage you to take some moments and journal or reflect on what winter gifted you. Because even though we have winter every year, it's different every time. The trees, we have the luxury of having the elder trees in our yard, and I get to watch them every spring go through their blooming cycle, but it's always like the first time, every time. And winter has its gifts and its beauty if we slow down, which is one of its gifts, and go within and illuminate the things that come up. And spring is an exciting time to dare to dream. When we get too busy, too loud, and too fast, and we're on this linear time frame, I hear it all the time. People, I don't have time to dream. I've got time for that. I hear it a lot. I was a court stenographer for 25 years. I was the steward of the written word. That sounds cool, doesn't it? So I got to listen. I didn't work in courtrooms, but I worked in depositions. If you've ever been in a lawsuit and you've been deposed, you know you get asked questions. What are your damages? They want to know who your first grade teacher was, what you thought about her, all the things. So I would get to hear really intimate details of a lot of people's lives. And the attorney I worked with, the last question he would always ask at the end, do you belong to any church or organization? People are like, why are you asking me that? I know why. He wanted to know if you were active anywhere. Because you're claiming you can't do anything if you belong to something. But let me rephrase, most of the answers to that were no. Do you have any hobbies, things you like to do? No. And I'd heard all the other details of this person's life, and I also know that they are now, I'm being careful with my words, slaves to their doctors, right? And to the whole system and their attorney who's encouraging them to get what they deserve, which is litigation, which is, ugh. So I'm sitting and I'm listening and I am who I am. And I start seeing this pattern because I saw the pattern in my own life. I did not feel that I fit in with organized religion. It didn't fit me. It was like a pair of shoes that were too small. They hurt. And so, like so many people I observe that don't feel they fit into that mold, they wander around in survival mode. And then I tend to blame my childhood when really I'm just kind of spiritless. I tend to stay away from the word God because of the story it has gotten around it. But this is not a godless place, right? This is a place that I want to create for you to experience the essence of the Creator, the great mystery. Every culture had an awareness of this and called it different things and honored it in different ways. But when we deny it, you're denying your own being. When you reject it, you're rejecting your own divinity. How can I accept that I'm divine if I don't accept that there's a divine essence that I can't understand or comprehend? Shamanism is not about denying anything. It's about accepting and seeing the interconnectedness of all that is, the sacredness, the beauty, even in the ugly. It's about honoring all of creation, honoring the ancestors, honoring the stories, honoring ourselves, honoring your story. Because your story is not any better or worse than your story, right? But we live in a culture, I say this a lot, where we get a pissing contest of our traumas. Well, I've gone through this and I've gone through that. And I've been shown that it's this idea of what life should be that gets us every time, rather than acceptance of what life is. It's both and. It's ugly and it's beautiful. I love this quote from a movie. It said, life is like a rose bush, beautiful rose bush, smells good, looks good, with a rattlesnake coiled up underneath of it. It's exciting. It's both and. So, give me just a moment, please. As we move through the cycles and the seasons, and as we dare to dream, what would you dare to do if anything was possible? Maybe you'd sing. Maybe you'd write a book. Maybe you'd dance in the rain. Or sit out under a tree where people can see you. Dare to dream. The springtime has an energy around it, a beautiful essence, and we're outside more. Please put your bare feet on the ground. We aren't meant to walk on rubbers. I love saying that. I don't know why. Yeah. Find your song. Find a song that comes from you and through you. If I am not willing to comprehend or consider this great mystery of loving essence, again, how can I accept that I am a divine creation and expression of this essence? And it's not something I need to tell you about. You experience it. That feeling inside. But when we get too busy, too loud, and too fast, we miss it or we numb it. I want to talk about, I brought this up last week and it's coming up again. I get acronyms. We're going to talk about DICE for the game of life. All right? Because when we have new dreams and we want to bring things in creation, this is a little bit of a roadmap, if you will. The D is be deliberate or disciplined. Discipline is not forceful. Discipline is loving and kind. Right? I love
That's what I felt about discipline.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, a lot of us think of it as when I was a child, I was being disciplined, and I was getting my butt spanked, right? That was what discipline. But I encourage you to consider, because I'm a word nerd, think of it as a loving, because when I love a child, I discipline them out of love. So discipline is loving. Force is forceful and domineering. Okay? So the D is being deliberate with and disciplined. Double D's. Yeah. Deliberate is doing things on purpose. Because I'm telling you, your patterns aren't who you are. It's who you've created to protect yourself from being hurt again like you were when you were a little girl or a little boy. And that's danger. You're safe now. You are your protector. You and your unvisibles, right? That's the beautiful thing about shamanism as well. You start learning that it's not just the people that you got to rely on. You have a whole support team. And it's not me telling you. Again, you can experience this. A shamanic approach is experiential spirituality. Someone told me last week that their family was afraid this was a cult. And I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen, and it will happen, and I'm okay with that. And I can promise you, if I say anything that is fear-driven and I try to scare you, leave. I want people to use discernment, right? If I start telling you what to think, feel, or believe, and it doesn't feel right to you, don't listen to me. But I also know that we are coming into a time that I feel that we need to come together. We need each other. Again, this is how we're made. We're not meant to just do everything alone. So being deliberate and disciplined, doing things on purpose instead of falling to my default. Well, how do I know how to not fall to my default? I need to figure out what my default is. I need to look at it and not be mean to it. My default used to be retail therapy. Right? I go drop some hundreds on shoes and feel good for a day. Yeah. And I don't judge her. I'm like, oh, I better now. No, I see her and I realize that she was hurting and she needed to ease that balm. It was my balm. That was how I eased my pain. And now I use other methods and other practices. So it's illuminating I got deliberate. I got deliberate and said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this instead. I got disciplined. I didn't say you're not allowed to go, but I gave myself some love. Does this make sense? It feels different. It's a different energy than saying you can't go and you suck for buying all them shoes. Then I want to go even more. Because now you made me feel like I suck and shoes will make me feel better. Right? So it's like, oh, I see you and I love you. It's okay. It's okay. And let's go sit on mother's lap. See, that's the message I started getting. I hear this too. Oh, it's cold. Be childlike. Did you ever go outside as a little girl and get scolded because it's too cold to be outside? Like I did. Get in here, it's too cold.
Outside.
Right? Like, I'm sorry.
They pushed me out.
Right, me too. I was thinking about that when I was mowing yesterday. Like, get outside. But early, like, when it would start getting this time of year, I'd be out without a coat, barefoot, and it's still cold. My granny's like, you're going to catch pneumonia, get in the house. So when we're children, we don't be like, it's too cold. So get playful with it. I asked my guys, like, please keep me warm. Here we go. Right? Because your body responds to that. It's not just because it's fun and whimsical and mystical. Your body needs contact with the earth. It needs it. It survives with it. So discipline, doing something different, just little bitty things. The I is inspired action, inspiration, intuition. Well, how do you get to that? Meditation. I had someone tell me the other day, I can't do that. What's the other way? Sorry, that's the way. And I promise you, you can meditate. I promise you, you can. That intuition, that inner voice, the one that we have not been encouraged to listen to, and certainly not encouraged to trust. Because my inner voice has often told me to go the other way than where everyone else is going. So what did that get me called? Troublemaker, defiant, irresponsible. I still march to the beat of my own drum, and I don't care about those things anymore. But that's been a lot of ego deaths as well. So so really what you're doing is what do they call it, working smarter instead of harder. When you start getting inspired thoughts or following your intuition, you're doing less, but what you are doing is more impactful. It's different than staying busy, and it's different than that work model that we're taught that the more productive you are, the more worthy you are. Or that lazy is a bad thing. I love my lazy days. My body loves them. But I stopped beating myself up and thinking I need to be up doing something. Right? Again, I got deliberate and reprogramming. It doesn't just happen by, right? You know, the work, the energy work, it's very, very powerful. Shamanic healings are so powerful, but it just it kind of is like clearing the path ahead of you so there's not so many weeds and briars to get through, but you still got to walk the path. And doing it deliberately and with inspired thought instead of, again, just doing what I was always told to do. And if you have a story that blames your parents, I invite you now to change that story. You get to do that. Up until now, I thought that I had to work to be worthy. Up until now, I thought that if I was lazy, that was bad. Because we come from generations that didn't really have those options. But indigenous cultures didn't. They had seasons that they were real busy, but they weren't like so busy. And they certainly weren't as vocal. They didn't talk nearly as much as we do. Didn't need to. They didn't need to meditate because their life was meditative. When you're hunting, you're sitting in nature. When you're gathering berries and medicines, you're quiet. When you're breaking beans or making pottery or sewing, often it's just, there may be some humming or singing, right? That's meditative. But see, we're in a different world, so we have to be disciplined around it. And that's where we'll get our inspiration. The C is like the P in cape. Y'all remember the P in cape was patience, and that's the one that everybody's like, oh. That one. The C in dice is also what tends to be more challenging. But again, that's what we're here for, is to overcome challenges. The C is consistency. It's creating consistency in your practice, right? It's being disciplined and consistent. Okay, I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to be consistent. Because why? Because I'm a divine being that is expanding, and I want to get to the real me and lose all of this false stories that I've been carrying around that have been keeping me down. And why do I know that I want to take this path that's maybe less trodden? Because it gets too uncomfortable not to. That's what I have found. Sometimes I've envied people that just seem to stay asleep and not have a clue, but then I don't, right? I don't. But sometimes I realize, like, oh, it gets too uncomfortable to stay. As a court reporter, I'm really good at it. And to me, it was an easy income because I was good at it. And the thought of leaving it would come up and I'd push it away. Nope, not ready for that. Nope, not going to do that. No. And then it just got too uncomfortable. I told Brian, I was like, this is what's happening. It was a Wednesday in 2020. I'll never forget it. So after that knowing, I had to be deliberate and disciplined. I went through so many ego deaths. I had to be there for it, be uncomfortable. I had to sit and meditate and get that inspired direction because I'm walking a path nobody else is doing. And that's what my little ego's like. People don't do this, Angela. You don't just quit your job, your career, security. I think we all saw in 2020 that was smoke and mirrors, right? So consistent. I started showing up for myself consistently. And I have a 21-day meditation foundation program that is the goal of that, to teach consistency. I was taught if you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit, right? And so being consistent with watching my words. Now, let me be clear, because this came up. I don't beat myself up if I talk bad to myself, but I'm real consistent about not talking bad to myself on a regular basis. Like, I'm consistent about cleaning it up immediately. I'm consistent in my efforts. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I'm consistent in my efforts. I'm consistent in my practice. I'm consistent in my practice. That's what we're here for, is to practice. Every lifetime is practice. Everything you're doing is preparing you for something down the road you don't even know about yet. Everything. Everything. So if we're doing things that are in alignment and feel good and are serving and for the highest good, we're going to create more of that. So consistent awareness. How about that? Maybe not even effort, but awareness. I like that better. Consistent awareness. Okay, awareness of what? That you are divine. You're a miracle. You're not what your parents told you. You're not what society tells you. You're not this body. You're not your name. Like, consistently reminding yourself. I'm telling you, that is where we change the stories, not by telling them over and over again. And I promise you, we all have a story. We all carry pain. We all face uncertainty. And then the E is endurance. Same as with Kate. Don't give up. If you miss a day, don't give up. If you go back to default to old behaviors, don't give up. If you do something that wasn't inspired and it blows up in your face, I've done that before. I had a knowing, oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, I'm going to do it. It'll be okay. My guys will protect me. And they're standing back like, shit, we told you not to do that, right? And they're also loving about it too. Again, just like a nurturing, loving presence. Because that's where I get my love. I've stopped blaming my mother and my father for not being all the things that I thought they were supposed to be. But I think when we look back through our history and our ancestors, I don't think anybody feels like they've had the childhood that they dreamed. I heard of another quote one time: every child wants an apology and every parent wants a thank you. And neither ever really feels they get that, right? But understanding that you are empowered in so many ways to create. So dice, be deliberate and disciplined. Seek inspiration. Be consistent. Oh, be consistent in loving yourself. That's another thing I come to understand. Self-love and patience and consistency and all the things, it's not a place you get to. It's a practice. It's not a place you get to. If it is, I haven't gotten there yet. And I love myself pretty hard. But I have to practice it. Because there's always still, I told y'all last week that version of me that feels unprepared when I get up here without notes. Because the first first month, whatever I was prepared. I was showing up to class ready. And I felt good. But it didn't feel right. Something in me was like, you're not showing up in the way you want you to. You're not trusting. And it got too uncomfortable. This is still uncomfortable a little bit, but that got more uncomfortable, not listening to that inner knowing. As we move into spring, who has a garden? Anybody garden? Iris? Anybody garden? Yeah. I'm not going to ask you how good you are, but do you grow anything? Like, I don't grow a whole lot. I've grown a couple of tomato plants, and I get so excited, right, when you get a tomato. A tomato is like eating sunshine. I know Brad disagrees. Brad hates tomatoes. Yeah. So I want you to consider that your mind is also your garden. It is a garden. And when you're born, it's beautiful. It's got its own wildflowers and its own trees and species of birds and butterflies. Beautiful garden, whimsical, love. And then as you grow, people start planting seeds in your garden that don't belong there. They're invasive. Some of them are just weeds. And the ugly kind of weed. I think some things that we call weeds are actually beautiful flowers. But they're the invasive kind of. And other people have planted them. They don't even belong in your garden. But see, you haven't been even aware of the garden because we get hungry like the caterpillar. We get hungry for all the knowledge and we just trust people because we're not taught to trust ourselves. We're told what to believe instead of allowed to become aware of what we know. And all these weeds can start growing and it gets really overgrown. And some of us call that a breakdown or crazy. And I've learned that I have weeded my garden. I have gotten out those stories that weren't mine. Doesn't matter who planted them, I don't care. Just pull them out. Let's get them out. And it's an ongoing process. And just like an actual garden, you don't just weed it one time. You have to, right, Iris? You're a gardener. You have to stay on top of it, right? You got to maintain. You have to nurture. It even helps if you sing, right? Your attitude. And your mind is that beautiful. And just like a garden you plant, because when you plant the seeds, the cooperative components conspire to grow an abundance of items. What word would I use? What items? An abundance of vegetables and fruits. Match. Huh? Produce, thank you. Words are hard for me sometimes. Produce is the one I was looking for. Produce, yes, an abundance of it for one seed, right? And you just planted the seed. We talked about this a little bit last week. So the same with your mind. When you are deliberate about planting seeds of positivity or spiritual, cooperative components conspire and they grow, they bloom, they blossom. And you keep nurturing that and you weed it regularly, right? You weed it regularly. And if you go somewhere where there's a downpour of information, you really want to weed that out. Take what you want, leave the rest. Don't, be mindful of what you're spreading. Is it a bunch of manure that you don't want, right? Or is it natural enhancements, rain? I have the beautiful opportunity of working with seniors with autism and Down syndrome. And one of the things that I ask the caregivers at their home to do is turn off the news. They think that they don't notice or they're not hearing. It's a frequency, right? So what are you planting in your garden? Turn off the news, be deliberate, seek inspiration, read inspirational things, sing inspirational songs, be around inspirational people, show up consistently for yourself, and don't give up. There are days that I think I've just lost my mind and I'm tired and why? Why now? Why here? Why? And I'm shown really quick why. It's love. There are only two frequencies, love and fear. And they're the same side of the coin. But be mindful. Again, that's why I say if I start spreading fear propaganda, I can't imagine I would do so. Actually get someone in here because I might have been possessed. Yeah. I'm feeling inspired and I got this morning, so I'm going to follow it. Does anybody have any questions? Everyone good? Okay. If you ever do, please don't, and I may not know the answer, but this is a safe place to ask those questions that would be weird to ask maybe somewhere else, because I hear that a lot. I went to the Chamber of Commerce luncheon the other day, and I lost myself and started talking about past lives to the little guy next to me. I know, I'm not sure how that went over. Yeah, he might steer clear from me next month, I don't know. But he was polite about it. Yeah. So we're going to do a little bit of a guided visualization meditation. And then we'll do some drumming and singing. Yeah, that's what I was just listening for. We'll do the announcements after the meditation and before the drumming. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So get yourself as comfortable as you can. And just let your eyelids relax. And begin to take some deep breaths. And with each exhale, just allow yourself to relax a little bit deeper. I want you to bring your awareness to your feet, or if you're sitting on the floor, your root chakra. And just sense or imagine that you have roots coming from the bottoms of your feet, going into the earth, rooting you, grounding you. I'm going to just count from 20 to 1, just to give you some space to get relaxed. Allowing your imagination to open and expand, and trusting whatever experience you have is right for you. Maybe you see, maybe you hear, maybe you sense, or maybe you know. I invite you to be curious and open. 20. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Using your beautiful imagination and just following and picturing in your mind, just as if I were reading you a story from a book. Imagine you are standing, your feet are bare, in a fresh tilled dirt. This is a garden that has been prepared just for you. Feel the cool dirt under your feet. Wiggle your toes, feeling the earth, pulling the energy up through your feet as it moves up your calves, all the way up your legs, past your hips, all the way to your heart. You look up and the sky is blue and the sun is high. You feel the warmth on your skin and you feel a beam of divine light coming down into your crown. It is warm. It is love. It comes down, down to your heart center, mixing, filling you up, energizing you. Feel the connection above and below. Realize you have a pouch tied around your waist, and this pouch is full of seeds. And each packet of seeds is labeled with things that you want to plant in your garden. Once you have decided which packets you want to plant in your garden, you take the seeds out and you joyfully scatter them in the soil. The seeds just sink into the soil, into their earth mother, as the cooperative components begin to conspire immediately, nurturing the seeds that you have planted. And it begins to rain. And you dance in the rain, ground and you see little sprouts begin to come up through the dirt, pushing, reaching for the light of the sun, drinking the rain. It's all so magical. In this space, there is no time. Everything is magic. You set the intention and you make a promise to yourself to tend to this garden of the seeds that you have planted for your life. Remembering, nurturing, weeding, protecting, trusting the cooperative components conspiring on your behalf. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. As the rain clears, you look up to the sky and you see the most spectacular rainbow from end to end, igniting with you a faith, a trust, a knowing that all is well. You are safe, you are supported, and you are loved. Look around your garden, see the abundance around you. Know that you are a part of it all. Take a deep breath in and exhale. I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and when I get to 5, you will be ready to open your eyes, feeling refreshed and restored, ready to come back into the waking world, carrying all that you have received, continuing to be inspired. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and open your eyes when you're ready. Take your time. Whoa, be careful with me. Okay. Behave on you. Feel like she's wanting to jump, like a cat. There you go. Okay. Excuse me. So, we will do announcements now, and then we will do a little drumming and singing, and Brad will pass a basket. We are donation-based, and the proceeds go to support the growth of the sanctuary, and it is our plan to, as we move forward, and I don't know if it'll happen, I don't know when it'll happen, but we are talking about doing other events and gatherings at other, places. And maybe Bernheim is something that's been coming up in my mind. And we've got an idea of a place I'm going to call this week to do, something around a big fire and have different gatherings for us to enjoy. So, yeah, so those are the things that we are planning. Any announcements? Birthday celebrations, good news, anything you want to share?
I have a workshop coming up.
No, go ahead.
I have a workshop coming up the 23rd, which I think is Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, Saturday, from 2 to 4. It is how to meet your spirit guides. Goes right in with what you were talking about today. We're gonna be talking about connecting with any of your spirit guides, animals, higher self, ancestors, star nation, etc. I'm gonna be talking about how to ask questions of your guides that help you to see more of your story and who you are, how to shed more light on your shadows, and we'll do a couple of guided meditations and talk about journaling prompts and things like that. It'll be 2 hours and it's $25. You can just get with me in Venmo or cash to reserve your spot. I've got like maybe 4 spots left over.
Thank you. And it's at the Healing Collective?
It's at the Healing Collective.
Lovely location too. It's a really nice place.
I was just say I brought 2 of my summer candles. I'll be in creative and branching out. Thank you.
Thank you. So you have candles
Yes.
back there? And how much are your candles?
I brought 2 big summer ones that are $40 each.
Okay, excellent. Yes, and so, yeah, if you're new, I want to let you know we do have a table back there. If you have anything that you like to offer, if you have a craft or something that you want to share with the community here, you're welcome to bring it here and share with everyone. Brad and I brought the honey that we make. If you've worked with me, you're familiar with the wellness honey. Yeah, it keeps people coming back, doesn't it? So about, gosh, has it been about 9 years now? 8 years, Brad, we started doing the honey? I started getting inspired, waking up at 3 a.m. reading books on herbs. I know. So I was like, okay, what's this? And I found a recipe and we started making this honey. And it's pure honey with ginger, turmeric, juniper berry, and cardamom. And they're all great for inflammation, and turmeric is nature's antibiotic. And so it's crystal infused wellness honey. So what that means is we make it in small batches. It gets stirred every 2 days for 2 weeks, and we put charged crystals all around the glass batches. And so it's got its own beautiful magic. So we have that. Also, we've got a fresh batch just finished up last week. So you can see Brad if you would like any of the honey. There's also some by the water jug if you want to taste it or sample some. Let me think. Any other announcements? Anybody got anything? Anything celebrating?
There's a yin restorative yoga class this evening at Modus Wellness right there at Fairmont and Barstown Road.
Yes.
And it's from 6 to 7:15. It's all on the floor. You hold your positions approximately 5 minutes and just stretching. Very, very helpful for relaxation. So.
Excellent. Thank you. And Lisa, do you want to announce your yoga here on Mondays?
Yeah, Mondays at 6 o'clock. It's donation based. So.
And it's here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is under the wave the rest of the time when it's not
yeah.
the sanctuary. So Lisa does hair. We've got cards back there on the table. We have all kinds of people in this community with offerings. So let's support each other. And if you have a card that you would like to leave back there, please do so and take a look around the table as well. I do have some, if you want any information on my offerings, I've got information back there as well, or you can talk to me after the service or set up a call with me. Either one might be best, so I can give you my undivided attention. After we drum a little bit, we will break, and there is vegetable soup, vegetarian vegetable soup, and homemade sourdough bread. So you're welcome to eat and get to know each other and socialize. And then after everyone's kind of finishing up eating, I will put the chairs in a circle and we'll do a talking circle. You're welcome to stay and share. We'll talk about maybe what seeds you had in your pouch or whatever you want to share. Amy and Amy, will you be offering Reiki today or no? There you go. Amy will be offering donation-based Reiki in the back as well if you want to get with her after we finish up here. Everyone good? Any questions? Okay. So grab your instruments. And Brad's gonna pass the baskets. We're gonna do the song that I was just doing when you were in the meditation. I surrender to the flow. It's not in the book yet, because I just learned it myself. And I really like it. I've been singing it all morning, so I wouldn't forget it. So I surrender to the flow.
I release.
Thank you. See, I already forgot. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that heal me. So we're just going to keep repeating. So, like me, you will learn it too. Now, yeah, there you go. There it is. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. One more. I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. Thank you for the day, thank you for we'll bring it to a slow beat and just coming to a natural stop. I will close our gathering, our ceremonial part, and then I will bless the food, and we shall eat. All right. So just take a moment to be in your feelings, be present, give yourself some love. Bring your awareness to your heart center, your heart right in the center of your chest, and just feel that space expand. Just set the intention, just imagine, my heart is expanding, it'll respond. We say thank you to the grandmothers, guardians of the East. Thank you, grandmothers, guardians of the South. Thank you, grandmothers, guardians of the West. And thank you, grandmothers, guardians of the North. Above Father Sky, below Mother Earth, the Creator within, we thank you. And with very grateful hearts, we accept this meal and receive it for the nourishment, the healing, and the restoration of our bodies, receiving it in its highest energy form, honoring its journey from seed to produce to our table. Aho. All right, Bradley, if you don't mind to get the light, my dear. And if you borrowed a drum, you can just set them back up here on the table. There are oracle cards up here if you'd like to pull one. There's a book as well if you'd like to engage in that. Yeah, I was. Wow. I know.
Looks like a little bit.
A little different, but same. Yeah, when she showed me hers, I was like, I got one on.
Yeah. I just share this card with you.
Oh.
What it says.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's one of the things I've been taught that I'm missing.
I'm back.
What am I wanting to attract?
Yeah.
What am I needing?
Those are all different, right?
You're living your best
Can't
life.
make that shit up.
That's
Yes. I say I'm always
Yeah.
amazed. Yeah, the first we started around
I think I'm due to get it cut next year.
Oh, are you?
I keep going through phases where I'm getting rolled out and I come back and get your cut.
It still is. I always forget this part.